Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to Donkey Kong Land. I wanted to record this one because I recently beat it for the very first time. Only took a very long time, but whatever. And there will be save scumming, so save states if you will, because this game is kind of a pain in the ass because of screen crunch and other odds and ends, but we'll get to them as we go. And hopefully that will not deter you from enjoying the footage on the screen. Donkey Kong Land is actually interesting amongst the Donkey Kong Land series. It's a pseudo-sequel to Donkey Kong Country, where for some reason, Donkey Kong and Diddy are celebrating their victory over King K-Rool. And Cranky Kong being cranky, is like, oh, you only were able to do that because it was on a stronger console. Why don't you try that on 8-bit? So they agreed to prove Cranky wrong, and got K-Rool to take the banana horde again. And here we are on the Game Boy. Now, something I noticed and didn't realize until until I beat the game was how good of a soundtrack this game actually has. Donkey Kong games typically do have good soundtracks, I find, but this had no business being as good as it sounded. You'll see in later stages. And so there was nothing to talk about in terms of stages in the first stage. This stage, however, is actually good for getting lives. You need to grind for lives, you come here. Ow. Also, as a consequence, because of saves, scumming, all my deaths will be in this Let's Play. So, I don't know, well, I guess, actually no, I guess because I did record this, I probably will record Donkey Kong Land 2 and 3, but, so, whenever I get to Country 2, which could be soon, I will then do Donkey Kong Land 3, and then Country 3, and then Land 3. Now, with that being said, well, I don't know when I'll actually do those, but hopefully soonish. It just depends on what it is I want to record and what I have on the backlog. We spelled couldn't. Okay, so now I mentioned the screen crunch was a problem. The controls in this game are actually interesting. I like them a lot in the water stages, because they seem more responsive. Other than that, they're just that. They're fine, but they're not fine, if that makes sense. The screen crunch is what holds, like I said, the screen crunch is what holds this game back, but a lot of the problems that people have talked about when it comes to this game, I don't see most of the problems. I don't know if it's because of years of playing platformers or what, but I saw the problems, but I didn't see the problems that people really go at. Like, oh, this game is so unplayable because you can't tell what you can jump on. No, I disagree with that statement. There's like maybe a few spots where you can't really tell, but eh. Now, Land 2 and 3, from what I've learned, they don't have as bad of a screen crunch, and graphically are definitely superior. Because in this game, as you can see, most things all blend in together. But in the case of Land 2 and 3, that's seemingly not the case. I haven't played those two yet. I did recently get them at a convention, but like with this one, I will use, like this one, I will use I'll use the Nintendo Switch for them. Ha! I've played a bit of Land 3. Just a bit. Beat one world. Land 2 I have not touched, like I said. Alright, so, as you saw in the overworld, we could not progress further. There was a rock there. In this stage, we're gonna get a bomb. Take out the mini necky. So, enemy variety in this game is smaller than it's smaller than the first Country game, but that's to be expected. Game Boy hardware. But there's also there's returning enemies and some new enemies out. And that's fine. Right now we just have our standards like zingers, mini neckies, critters, naughties. DK barrels. Like in most platformers, the first world is a good introduction to how the game works. But most of our level themes are ship. Most of our level themes are ship, snow, and jungle for some reason. Well, the summer reason's the snow, but whatever. And so I recently, by recently, like last year sometime, I beat Donkey Kong Country on the Game Boy Color. That was, yeah, so for those of you, yes, we did, side note, we did get a bomb in that previous stage, so we could bomb down that one rock for mission. Anyway, back to Country on the Game Boy Color. Now, the way that game works, those controls are terrible. I've beaten every version of Donkey Kong Country, the Super Nintendo, the Game Boy Advance, and then the Color. And the Game Boy Color, well, is obviously going to be a weak port, but it was awful. You remember how I was not doing so well in the first minecart stage? Go to that stage in the Game Boy Color, and it was so much worse. It was actually kind of hilarious, actually. We spelled con. So, interestingly enough, and I only learned this through playing the game, there's only 4 worlds in this game. Kind of like Mario Land. Go. Also, interesting thing to note, a couple of things that are really terrible about this game. If you have both Kongs, Diddy and Donkey Kong, and you fall off a cliff like that, you lose both Kongs. And in some areas, even though there's ground below you, it'll still count as a death when you drop. I don't know why that is. It just seems to be a thing in certain spots, as we'll see later. But Beyond that, I'm not sure. That wouldn't surprise me if there's something up there. So we have flying pigs. And Slipper. And then that critter just kind of casually walked on us. If you want to have create a tally of how many times I die, that'd be fun. I was thinking of doing that myself, but if you viewers want to do that, go ahead. I'd welcome it. So all my deaths, the ones where I repeat the stage or do a jump cut because of save scumming. Yeah, I welcome it. So, also one thing to note, in Donkey Kong Country, Donkey Kong has his ground pound, or his ground slap, or whatever it's called. He doesn't have it in this game. They have the bare minimum of their moves. World 1 is also the only world in the game that is the only world with 10 stages. The other 3 have only 8. Thank you, Flying Pig. Also, this is one of the worst stages in the game. There's numerous checkpoints and a lot of bull. I also decided for this Let's Play that each world will be a part. That was a claptrap. Not these critters, the one that was before. The thing I jumped on before those two. So one of the bullcrap parts is these slippers that are on the ropes. Because they have an infinite respawn point depending on the spot you're on. If you get to the top of the rope they're coming from, then they stop, which is good, but you gotta get to it. I don't know, maybe I just suck, or am unlucky, or it's the recording curse. I'll go with all the options, actually. Because even without recording, I would have problems with them. See? Checkpoint. If Nintendo was to remake the Donkey Kong Land games, I'd welcome it. See what kind of new additions they could add. Maybe they could have re-add the stuff they cut from the game, like a new animal buddy that was a goat. His name was Rambunctious. There's also Fedora Kong, as he's called by fans. He's interesting because it's believed that he's actually Donkey Kong Jr. all grown up due to a similar body type. So, yeah, I would like to see a game where you have Donkey Kong, Cranky Kong, and Donkey Kong Jr. Because for those of you who don't know, this Donkey Kong is Donkey Kong the Third. And ignoring the Mario movie and the screw-up dialogue on Donkey Kong 64, it's been confirmed by Nintendo that Cranky Kong is the original Donkey Kong, and this Donkey Kong is the third, and DK Jr. is his son. Is his father. So, So we have an unnamed Kong that is DK's mom. Go. Also, I should also point out that Donkey Kong actually has a brother. Who it is, we don't know, because Diddy Kong's his nephew and best friend. Alright. No. If you need to, take this game slowly because of the screen crunch. Number 8. So in this world, we got what I deem the worst stage in this world out of the way. Yeah, that enemy we just took out. That's a Neki, only just doing their coconut throwing gimmick. So because of the Game Boy limitations of this game, they couldn't have both Kongs on the screen at the same time for more than, what, a couple of seconds, like so. So, it's actually kind of funny to release them from the barrel and they just kind of jump high into the sky, and then when you decide you want to swap to one of them, Diddy Kong would be an ideal choice there, dude. Anyway, and you want to swap to one of them, they just kind of, like, shrink up out of existence, and then the other one grows in. Or when you get hit, assuming you're not over a cliff or anything, they'll do their death animation as they do, and then just kind of then they turn their back on you and they disappear, only to have the next Kong come in like a tornado or something. So when in a stage at the bottom of when you're in a stage, you see those hearts on the bottom of the screen? Those are your lives, if that wasn't obvious, if you haven't been watching the screen. And your life cap does I don't know when it caps. It's definitely not when that screen fills. I experimented with that before I recorded this. For all we know, or for all I know, you could have 99 lives and you just won't know that. Also, screw this stage 2 on Game Boy hardware. That's why. Thanks, Donkey Kong. Go away. Go. Woohoo! One neat thing I should point out, because we're almost there anyway, all of the bosses are different bosses from country. See, we had Donkey Kong with us and we just died. Anyway, all of the Kongs we had with us. Well, okay, wow. Anyway, let's try that again. All the bosses in this game are different from any of the bosses from country, minus obviously K-Rool. which is kind of cool. It's been actually kind of interesting if they kind of thought of some of these bosses during Donkey Kong Country. Then you could add like a neat little variety rather than like four of the bosses mimicking each other like really naughty, very naughty Mega Neki and Mega Neki Senior. Though they did tweak the Mega Neki Senior fight on the Game Boy Advance version of the game, making sure you had to fight them both at the same time in that fight. So here we go, our first boss, 6 manta rays. Graphically speaking, it may look clunky, but it also looks really good. Like, the developers did a fantastic job when they made this game. Alright, so while Diddy finishes up the fight, I will see you all in the next part. Until then, you all take care.